Tech 3 Media friends, welcome. I am super excited today because I get to talk to, again, OG, friend of the show, Nana.
What up,
OG,
Minty?
yo, welcome again to the show, my man. I'm excited about this particular occasion because we're talking about a lot of things, but most importantly for me, this Board Ape Council run that you're a part of.
Sorry.
Super excited. Oh, hey, hello. Super excited about having you on to talk about this run because we're at a really interesting time right now with Yuga and the Yugaverse, as I'm calling it. We know there's apes and mutants and punks, but it's growing. Now we have 10K Now we have moonbirds. How do you make sense of all of this growth and
Hard
is
to
it too
keep up.
much? Like I feel it's so aggressive, right?
It's getting there. I mean, I feel like that's kind of the sentiment right now, at least. Like, it's just, there's a lot going on. There's not a whole lot going on. I think, just a lot of uncertainty. And that's
Hmm.
kind of where I see the state of everything right now. Like, a lot of people are anxious. There's so much uncertainty. People's bags are at stake. They're watching other things fly up while people are holding their assets that don't seem to be gaining any traction. So I think there's definitely that sense of anxiety that people have, and um, you know, people like myself put off uh, their time away from family and things that really matter to devote into this space, into these projects, and into the club. And I think that's kind of where it's like, is this really going to pay off? And I think, yeah, there's a lot of apes leaving, but there's also the kind of brighter side of things that are happening. You got new people coming in at a great entry level with fresh ideas, a
Hmm.
brand new sense of energy where people want to contribute in a brand new way with a community that they have yet to connect with. So there's definitely some initiatives and that new flow of energy that's coming in. You got Garga taking the helm as
Massive,
CEO,
massive,
you
massive.
know?
It's like having Garga, and I feel like, as you're saying, there's a lot of people who are stepping up into these leadership roles. Like PP Man and Jeff Nichols and Figgy. Coming back from leave and Baron, and so there's a lot of people who are
Yeah.
stepping up into this thing to where I can, and you know them too. So it's like you get a stronger sense of the leadership, right?
You get a strong sense of just being immersed in this space for, like, at least 2.5 years or however long BAYC had started. You start to meet people, you start to see people. I just came back from East Denver. It was crazy to just walk into other apes, other Grailed members, just people that you've seen throughout the space, and just immediately, like, and it's not even the first time, like, you start to see who's on the ground putting
Hmm.
in their work, in the trenches, connecting, networking, taking meetings, building. And you start to recognize those patterns the longer you're in the longer you're in the
And in the
space. And
trenches, and you're
yeah,
down there, and that's the thing, as you were saying, like, there's Grail, there's all these different things going on that I felt like, with the focus on the other side, there was such a strong focus on the other side. It started to, like, and then maybe it went to Ape Fest a little bit, but it's just like, because of the way that it's currently structured, all the focus is on one certain thing at a time. So then you have people feeling pretty cold out in the, they're out in the cold. There's like the Grail. They're
yeah,
like, please, like, heat us up, give us
yeah,
some love. And it's
it's due.
because of how big this thing is. It seems like, that's the feeling, as you said. Like, some people start to get a bit anxious because they're not getting the love. And it's
And
interesting
with
because,
proof coming in, it was even questioning that, like,
yeah,
wait, I wasn't get like what happened with the love
I wasn't
before,
getting
and
love
now it's like,
before. Now, yeah, now these like moonbirds are coming and
yeah,
getting love.
yeah, exactly. But I think, just going in with the changes, what Garga had said in terms of, taking BAYC and creating BAYC LLC and unleashing the club to that extent. We already seen some good examples of that through communication, through hiring, and this council position just so happens to coincide with all of this as well. So even amongst all the FUD, all the anxiety, all the things that are going on with the assets, I think there's some really exciting things that are ahead of us. And my conviction in the value of what you can get out of this club and how it could exceed any floor price at this point, um, that's what I want people to be able to tap into, because I've been able to achieve that value from it. You know, it I may not have cashed out at the top when, I was holding it when apes were over 100 ETH or whatnot, but I certainly got immense value off of the connections, the building, the collaboration, and the things that have been it wasn't life-changing money, but it's been life-changing experiences for me to, go on to this new path and fully immerse myself into this space. And so I'm just that much more confident that this is where I want to be. This is what I really hope to dedicate more time to. And I hope to really help other people do that. And to be honest with you, I'll do that with or without this co-lead position in the
You're
BAYC
naturally
Council.
doing this already as co-host of Other Space FM, and you're also are you co-founder of this new thing called Otherpage? I should
Oh,
check
I'm
this
not
out.
co-founder. Actually, I joined the Otherpage team not too long ago, but I've been working with the co-founder, Miker, and other people on the team. Um, Taylor, Nova, Brandon, Corey. There's a there's
You're big in
several.
this because your ape is first.
Well, that actually came from even prior to working with them. Um, Basically, we started this conversation a long time ago, and I interviewed Miker on Other Space FM on like why the metaverse needs Web3 profiles.
Mhm,
And this really evolved and changed over time. It was actually called Apes Page, and it was like
mhm.
a profile page for each ape. But it's
Yeah.
actually evolved into multiple avatars as people have their online digital identity. But the
Mm,
really unique thing in what's happening with many of these collections is, like, for instance, my ape. Not only am I able to just have lore associated with it,
nice.
and be able to tell my story. But if you scroll down just a little bit more, I now have Made by Apes licenses that are part of
Ooh,
this, right?
sexy.
That's part of my ape. The other things that's part of my ape is, like, if you go to the avatar section, I have multiple assets that I love to flex that are part of
Mhm,
this ape. And even assets that may have game data, like the heavy metal or that deed that is the headquarters. Like, these are some of the assets that have innate value in the sense of I put time and work and achievements into some of these, and the marketplaces, there's no real way to flex all of this in one spot,
exactly.
including the community that I connect with. And
Mhm,
so other page ends up being like a really cool avatar web3 profile that anyone can create that has a supported avatar, and be able to, like, build their page and flex it in a really, really cool way. And I can't wait to really go into some of the new things that are coming out pretty soon. But you'll see the other page logo on almost every single, like, Yuga collection, as well as some of
uh-huh.
the other side friends collections, all the collections that other page supports. You'll see it in Magic Eden due to the Magic Eden partnership and integration. And
That's great.
so, yeah, and considering so many of these assets are um, currently for sale on Magic Eden, I think it's a big deal because as soon as people click on their ape or, you know, their heavy metal or, you know, CryptoPunk or whatever it might be, that's supported another page. There'll be another page logo in Magic Eden store, and then you'll be able to see more and just get to know who this avatar is,
Yeah, I
if
noticed
there
that,
is
and
one.
exactly, I noticed that in terms of the marketplace development. I thought it was very, very smart because you guys are a very, very specific and different entity, right? It's got all these different moving parts and a gaming part, that has stats and things that the marketplace just does not show. It does not reflect, the work put in, and to be able to see it, it's kind of hard to see because all the rarities are tied into each other. Like if you looked at, popcorn on G tags, it's just like you look on Blur or something. It's like you have no understanding which one from the other than the crowns. You're like, okay, there's two crowns there. Okay, I'll take that one, because there isn't
It's a
much
good example.
understanding. Yeah, there isn't much understanding of the universe, and this I think does a really great job to do that, because it all is coming together. Bam Bam over at 10KTF mentioned in Discord that they're, kind of just speaking, to the group, is just like there's a lot of revisioning going on of what it looks like at Yuga as a whole.
Mm.
How 10KTF, works into that, sure, but you also have somebody from there, Figgy, who's really stepped into a larger creative oversight view
You could
position.
tell.
Absolutely, and you feel it, right? You
You
feel
feel
these,
it in the other side too, man.
yeah.
Like his fingerprints are all over the place when it comes to the creative direction, especially with Otherside.
Hmm.
Um, when we went to that first trip, or not the first trip, just the play test
Hmm.
in Los Angeles, there was like a select few people. I was privileged to go, and Figgy was leading the conversation, man.
Hmm.
Like it was almost like this is his project, which I know, like 10KTF and the Grail, like its home is in the other side. So I think there's just a lot that is on his plate. If I can only imagine. But I think 10KTF and the Grailed is going to have something really special ahead of them. And that's one of the things I'm really, really excited for. And speaking of 10KTF and the Grailed, shout out to the 288 gang.
Gang,
That's what
gang.
I'm sipping on right now, man.
So we're gonna get, like I was saying, I was gonna put on my Shannon Sharp outfit, and we're gonna talk. We're gonna get crazy. We're gonna go deep into, I think, a lot of things that people just don't
I wish
quite
I had
know
a
about Yuga.
cigar.
Yeah,
Wish I had a
man, let's
cigar,
do
dude.
it. Let's
Be
do it and
nice.
relax, because I think that that's also your vibe, and then what I love about your idea for running for this council is that you in this community are always present, vocal, and accessible. And I feel like that, the conversations that we have here on this show, I'm hoping that other people get to have, like, on a daily basis, if you were to jump into this position.
Dude, that's what it's all about, man. It's about connecting with people. I want to be just as approachable, especially if I'm in a position like co-lead of the BAYC Council. I think one of the biggest parts and responsibilities of a co-lead, in my opinion, is to really seek to understand what the community needs and initiatives are. And a huge part of that is exploring those ways to platform those community initiatives, the people that are doing dope shit. I wrote in here that, what did I say? Who want to
The,
experience dope shit in sorry, who
those who are doing dope shit and want to experience the dope shit in collaboration with you, guys.
yeah,
I think
man.
it's,
I
yeah.
was like, I was pretty proud of myself. But no, like to just be candid and put it simply, like there's so many people that want to experience dope shit. I see Board Ape Yacht Club as cutting edge and pioneers in the Web3 ethos. Like we're crypto centric, we're degens. Fuck doing expected things. Like we need to be on that cutting edge. And if people are doing some dope shit, like we gotta find that. But here's the thing: as a community member, cool. I love hanging out. I love meeting people. I love just conversing.
Yeah,
But
if you're in LA, you've probably seen Nana at an IRL event. You're like all over town. You're one
I
of those
try to
people
be
that,
present.
yeah, you try to be
I
present in the
try.
space.
That's one of the best parts, honestly, the IRL
It
meetups,
is.
even just meeting you at it happened to be a Wicked Craniums event, if I'm not
That's right.
mistaken, the very
Yeah.
first time.
Nobody really
Um,
even knew I had an ape because I've been working, on Son for so long. I just kind of
yeah.
used that PFP, and you're like, "What? You're an ape? What?" I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
for like
You're
2
like, "Yo, this is
years."
my fucking mutant." I was like, "Dude, that's nice." Um, but yeah, dude, it was just like that's an example of just IRL events in general. Like, I love going to what different communities. I think cross community is the fucking meta. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like, that's where you get to really see, who's doing what. And it's not just exclusive to apes, but certainly as an ape, um, that's where I think like apes they have an edge on so many different things. Um, but as a builder myself, I'm working with Otherpage. I also am building Other Space FM, of community, Discord, creating the channels for us to collaborate, to have fun with each other and shared experiences. Like, forget waiting for the other side. Like, what are the things we can do right now that's technically connecting us in the metaverse? Like, this is a metaverse talk right now in my definition of metaverse. You know what I mean?
sure.
So it's like, we need to be able to use the existing tools to have these shared experiences. So why am I going to wait for the other side and expect, oh, I can build something there and hope that people are going to show up? How can I expect that if I can't do that right now?
Mhm.
I should be able to have a workshop or a cool event or showcase this really cool artist or play music and vibe out with each other and put something on in the metaverse and invite people in. And if I can't do that right now, then I can't expect people to just jump in during the other side. Like, I want to be able to get those chops up right now. And that's actually part of the community development and building aspect. Like, I'm sharpening my blades as I'm doing this. And so there's
It's
been
so
times,
necessary. Yeah, it's so necessary because you have that feeling of like not being able, we're waiting on the other side. As you said, we're waiting, we're waiting, we're waiting. Well, while
yeah,
we're waiting, you've been one that's been very, very proactive. I think you have an understanding of IP specifically and community development, and also it seems like creative collaboration. Where's that? Where does all that come from, and sort of bringing that to bear in this space?
dude. To be honest, like where it comes from is like I'd have to rewind back to just my upbringing.
Mm,
My dad, he left Thailand to come to Los Angeles to play music and ended up
totally.
being professional in like art direction and graphic design, and gigged his whole life. And my mom, who was in fashion design, she came from Hungary, moved to Hollywood, and that's where they met. Broken English was like the uh, the language of the house at first, and my brother and I are first generation American, but the just being around artists, having the instruments available
Mhm.
for us to explore early on. And then knowing my dad just freelancing so much of his life.
The
Um,
grind, the
yeah, just
hustle.
creating,
Mhm.
and gigging, playing music. And I didn't realize until like after I went to art school and graduated university, that I was actually, there were so many things where I already exceeded that 10,000 hours of time in, where I grew up around a lot of this creativity, and so that fueled me into starting a creative collective with my brother
Mm.
and a few really close friends where we ran a creative collective out of LA. It was really focused on artist development,
Mm.
and we even developed artists multiple artists that we started working with in the industry.
Mhm.
Notable ones, but I'm not here to name drop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, my brother wanted to start his artist venture, as he's been a producer and helping other artists do their thing. He
Mhm.
wanted to start his, so he created a duo with this other really talented artist named Mike B, and they started a group called McKenna. And I was the creative director for that, as well as kind of like business manager, helping with the back ends of things as well, and making all the content, shaping the brand and identity, being a part of every single step of the way in terms of strategy and growing it to, become published and perform and merchandise, all of that stuff. So
Wearing a
complete.
lot of hats. When it comes down to that passionate sort of push, you wear a lot of hats, and I think that a lot of groups, especially like the ones we're talking about, you run in there, you're wearing all the different hats, and slowly they start to filter down to very distinct jobs. Like, oh, you know what, I actually like this part, and it's like your brother made that decision. You know what, I really like this part, and then, oh, you know what, I can actually do this. And I think we're seeing that with some of these organizations, Yuga as a whole, but also with this Board Ape Council. And it seems like it's gone on for about a year and a half. But they call it year one. Josh Allen calls it year one that he served. He's going to step into again helping to support in year two. But it seems like it's gone from something that's a round table to something that's a bit more like definitive. Like, okay, hey, you're going to do social media. You're going to do this, that, and the other. And the position that you're going for is co-lead. What's your vision there for co-lead?
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, with just how it's shaped from that first year to, what it's becoming now, that was actually like a question I had asked them. And, when I was speaking with Sarah, um, was just saying, like, based on what you experienced this first year of being part of the BAYC council. And what was great is I've had great relationships with so many of them. Um, but like, based on what you experienced, like, how are you approaching this next year differently? And one of the biggest aspects is that they have some lanes that they can focus on this next year around. With Sarah kind of really helping out with the socials and the communication side of things, and Josh, who's going to continue to be the co-lead in this and really help translate, make sure everything kind of gets started. But to be honest with you, like, I think they're also equally as hungry to take in the fresh ideas from these three new people that are going to be joining the BAYC Council. So there's going to be a co-lead position, a Made by Apes liaison, and a clubhouse and events liaison. And
Interesting. And
so,
so this
so
group this group basically serves as a go-between between Yuga and the community, and this group seems to have a lot of advocacy at its back. It says this year's council responsibilities we structured a little differently with greater responsible emphasis on collaboration with Yuga rather than focusing in on the one-off community grants. And so it really seems to say like, hey, like we're going to be the voice of the community, and I think that you suit this very very perfectly. Is that your vision for what you want to do there?
for sure, man. And I think, it's not only going to be just what I think, and I think as a leader, you have to have a really good sense of values and experience that you can lean off of, so that I can be confident in the direction that we're taking, so that we can actually keep moving and make steps. But I think I think the important thing is to really realize that it's not just about me or anyone. This is about how to get the entire club rallied around and connected with the goals. I was mentioning myself, like, as a builder, working with Otherpage, doing Other Space FM, etc. It's always been around, like, fostering collaboration, looking for those business opportunities. Some of us not only dedicating time and energy toward this community and this club, but lots of money, or even our businesses, our full-on businesses
Mhm.
that are doing this. And I think that's the key is like we got to really understand like who those initiators are, who are the people that are doing this, because I've certainly come across those challenges where I'm doing all this stuff and there's times I definitely don't feel heard. There's times I
Mhm.
definitely don't feel supported, or I just don't feel like, it's tapping into the club in the way like I really hoped.
That it's so
And
famous for. It's like the Bored Ape Yacht. And now I'm part of the yacht, the yacht
yeah,
club, and
we
I'm gonna
talk
build.
about it all the time, and many people are able to tap into that. I want to be able to like really help facilitate that even more, because there's certain, and I'm not saying that's not happened for me, you know what I mean? I even just to be recognized as a finalist, like that's a W. I feel really, really grateful to be recognized as someone that was shortlisted to these final five people out of everyone that was nominated in the club. So
Very well deserved, by the way.
I appreciate that, man. So like, yeah, whether I get it or not, like this passion, this leadership, this experience, this creativity, I'm gonna keep it going. But I think the co-lead position like really needs to think about this more holistically, and think about like how this is going to scale globally, and make sure like we're having these conversations where whatever initiative that there is, or if there's an event that we're anchoring other initiatives to, we need to really be able to understand like how are we empowering the community to shine in these moments.
Mhm.
And that's where I feel like if you're not tapping into the community and the club, then and what they're building, then we're missing out on so much. And so many people may even expect BAYC or Yuga to be doing something, and they're just waiting. And I
Mhm.
know there's so many apes that are not expecting shit. Um, but they could definitely uh, get some support, and if Yuga can tap into their superpowers and they're able to do certain things, if we truly like, if I'm able to get in there and start really understanding the resources that are available, or come up with some creative ways to make this available, or just bridge those connections, and I just feel like we'll be able to tap into the true utility of this club, which is the community. And so that's what we need to really be able to take to the next level. I just I don't I don't subscribe to the fact of waiting for BAYC to do shit. Um or like
You never have been, and I think that's why we had a chat early on. Was you were one of the ones that was active in the community. They were building Otherside. You're just like, well, let me try and piece it together for the community. Let me try and open it up for people to understand who might not be having their eyes on it as much as you do, so that there is understanding of what's going on. There's excitement that's going to be built, so that when we do go on first trip, second trip, we're going to have an understanding of what
yeah.
these steps are, and what these steps mean, and welcome, the welcome home apes events, like what these steps mean towards growing our community. Because at the end of the day, it does mean a usage of IP and a usage of perhaps building businesses in the metaverse. There's so many options that come along with what they're main doing, but we got to be ready for it, and we have to have an understanding of what those resources and opportunities are for somebody who's sitting at home and they got an ape. What would you recommend that they do? Like, what do you think that they should be doing right now? Like day one, like I got my ape. What is it that I'm empowered to do?
Ooh. Well, it's a good question, man, because this actually came up in the conversation of this whole Welcome Apes initiative, where,
Hmm.
it started from Vicky kind of putting it out there, just being like, there should be something to really help Welcome Apes. And so many other community members like raised their hand and got something together. And I think it came down to us discussing like what are some of the different paths people can take in terms of next steps? Like, I got my ape, now what?
Yep.
You know, because it's one thing for ape follow ape. Like that'll help. You know, it gets you networked. It allows you to follow, it kind of helps curate your timeline. You're more tapped in. Um, but the key is just going deeper with your network. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like you cast like a large net, you're able to have a reach, and you're also connected. But you need to be able to go deeper in some of those connections, and that could look a little bit different depending on why they got their ape. You know, if they're traders, we actually have lots of freaking really dope ape trade groups. You know, some people are farming, they're farming other coins. Like you want to make money, like we got apes that fucking focus on making money, you know? So there's that.
Not gonna lie, I was farming an airdrop literally 2 minutes before I came on this interview. I was just
Don't
like,
say,
I
man.
was just like, I was like, oh yeah, Mocha. Oh crap, yeah, yeah, Mocha's gonna be dropping soon.
So, you know, and some people buy it to build with their IP. Some people are buying it for, you know, gaming now. You know what I mean? Um, so there's like different reasons. And I gotta say, like, that's where, you know, people have their own journey when it comes to it. And I don't think there's gonna be a right or wrong way, but like announce it. Like that's the first thing you want to do. Like announce that you have an ape. Show us your ape.
There you
You
go.
know, we got a lot of fakes out there too, man. People
I
do it
know.
for engagement farming. Show
Yeah,
us your ape. Let's at least show you the initial part where we can at least show that love, welcome you to the club, because that's when the magic starts to happen, because you never know what connections you really begin to make. When I
yep,
say like the community is the utility, that's why you need to, like, that's the first thing you need to do is tap in with the community. Hop into the Discord, chop it up, let people know you just got an ape, and share why. Because all of a
100%.
sudden they might start having some recommendations on what you might be able to do next, you know?
I have to say that
Uh
was part of the magic with you. We were at Rookie Craniums. We were at a different event altogether, just vibing.
mhm.
And then you had mentioned Baron. I was like, yeah, yeah, connected with Baron on like some ape thing. And then you're like, wait, what? What? You're an ape. I'm like, yeah. And then you just literally like you turned and then you introduced me to the dude who was the Mega, who had the Mega
Oh
mutant.
yeah. Yeah,
And he's like,
Mr.
"Oh yeah,"
Robot.
and then he
Uh,
just started flowing me like free vapes, and just like
yeah.
I was just like, "Oh, this is what it's like to be an ape. This is great."
He has some crazy crazy hash and all sorts of
But that's just
really
made by
good stuff.
apes, and that was
Yeah.
it was brilliant to be introduced to him in that way. But I wouldn't have known if I had just stayed sort of quiet about having the ape and this that and the other and just kind of gone about it. But I think you're right. Doing that first step. Follow some apes on X. Stay connected to shows like yours. And 10KTF certainly has a whole litany of shows
Well,
that you
that's
follow
the
as
other
well.
thing. It's like the content creators, right? Like the spaces. Those are so important in my
Yep.
opinion, because like if you're not using Twitter or X as a tool, or Discord, I do feel like, you know, some people use both. There's definitely some that just use that or just use that. Instagram, yeah, there's some apes that just hang out on Instagram too, I've learned. But you know, that's not where I'm hanging out. Um, Although I think it's important to like meet people where they're at. And so from a content strategy, that's a whole nother story
Hey,
I'm
that's
sure
why
we
we're
can get into.
vertical. That's why we're
Yeah,
vertical here. We're
yeah.
vertical so that we can go to TikTok, that we can go to Instagram.
And that's so important, right? Because we need to bring the conversation to where people are at. You know, we can't expect everyone to just want to tap in. So, yeah, accessibility. But yeah, like the content creators like yourself, you know what I mean? Coffee with Captain, Board TV, you know, the bunnies space. thread
Oh
guy,
yeah.
you know, like there's so many different people that are doing dope shit where the conversations are very relevant. The community showing up, you know, Other Space FM every Thursday.
Let's
You
go.
know, we come together, we talk about this stuff. It's very other side and ape centric, but we expand to so many different things because our focus is on ambitious builders, creators, and artists, you know, and how we're able to get the most out of our time with each other when we're holding these assets.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that's where infrastructure really comes to mind. You know, like what are the onboarding tools that we have as a club? You know,
Hmm.
I think those are some of the initiatives. Like I jumped in like with the Welcome Apes Discord uh initial team to put it together
Yeah.
with like NFT Drew and Law of the Saw,
Law.
who's been on your show.
Yeah.
But you know, just really understanding like what's the purpose of this? Like what resources are we really trying to catalog so that it's helpful for someone to go deeper into
Mhm.
some of these connections and resources. So I think there's a huge opportunity there. You know, it's like I got an
Absolutely.
ape, now what? And
You're the now what, sir. You're the now what. And again, I think this is such a
we are the now what, man.
we are the now what, but
We got to
it's
figure
somebody
it
who
out.
understands the resources. Exactly. Somebody who understands the resources, understands collaboration, understands a lot of these human elements that make us have that ability as just as you did IRL. Oh yeah, hey, meet
Mhm.
Minty. Oh dude, like yeah, here's some free vapes. You know, just like that connection and then like, you know, that led to a whole bunch of other connections. So it really is somebody who helps facilitate that as well as advocate. And I think you, sir, are a great candidate, and we wish
Thanks,
you
man.
well. And hopefully, we'll have you back on and talk more. Certainly, if you know council job or not, you got a lot of stuff to talk about with Otherside. And always, you know, one of my first great resources when it comes to like catching up with Board Apes as well as Otherside.
Dude, I love listening to inspo and radio.
Oh,
Dude,
thank you,
I
thank you.
actually just got to hang out with Bobby Son in
Yes,
ETH Denver, dude. We had a
let's
blast.
go. Yeah, dude, right?
So, yeah,
I'm so
man.
lucky.
And dude, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I was looking forward
Thank you
to
for being
just,
on.
you know, sipping a little 288, chopping it up with you. And yeah, I hope anyone who's listening in, you know, support the club, you know, by sharing who you think is going to be best in each one of those positions for BAYC Council.
So right now
Um,
that's running. The voting just started as of
yeah.
yesterday, I believe. And how long does it run? About a week or so?
Yep, about a week. I think the date, if I just look real quick, is 3/15.
Okay.
So March 15th. So about a week.
And basically, I'll put the details down below, but you can go to Board Ape Council at Board Ape or at BAYC Council for more information,
Mhm.
and so you can get the proper links to getting to your opportunity to vote for these great candidates.
Yep. And to be honest with you, all the five candidates that I'm running like against, they're fucking solid apes. You know, like some of them I'd even vote for. Like I'm like, dang, you know what? I'd probably vote for Grateful or Phil. You know, like
That's the
um,
thing about these positions is like, you know, you have a lot of candidates that have a lot of qualities that they bring to the table. It's a little hard to distinguish, you know, when you see sort of, you know, even when I just look at them, I'm like, oh, I think, you know, I've seen them on spaces. But I think because of your presence, I think A, you know who's out there in a sense and able to be advocates for them. But B, it's just like I feel like everyone knows you too. So
oh,
I'm hoping
thanks,
that
man.
that's in your favor.
I appreciate it, man, because I think I would kill it. And you know, I want to. I want to be able to contribute at a deeper level. And I'll continue to find ways to do that regardless, like I said, but you know, I think this position would be a nice step in that direction. You know what I mean? Still being a part of the community,
Yep.
you know, we're not like Yuga employees, so to speak,
Yep.
I'm still doing my thing, building other Space FM, building Otherpage. Those are things I'm equally as passionate about. I think all of these things within the ecosystem are important, and for members to get the most out of their club membership, like we got to feel that, especially if we're in the club. Uh, you know, there's lots of things from a tech side of things, from a platform side of things, from a community side of things, from like just creating the space for people to
Yep.
feel heard,
Big.
all of those things are important. So hopefully we can push that in the right direction regardless.
Shanana, the one for it, the one who can lead us there. Appreciate your time, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate you too. Peace.
Be well.